Hello, welcome to yoga class. Today's class is yoga to tone your body. Yoga is an excellent way to tone almost every major muscle group in your body. And it does this also while calming the mind, relieving tension, and removing stress. So making yoga great for the soul, body, and the mind. We'll start our class today in a seated position to just give ourselves time to transition with our breath work. So find yourself in a comfortable seat. If you notice that you've got any issues with your knees, you could take the option to sit on a block, a pillow, a folded up blanket, whatever feels good for you. So just lifting the hips a little higher than the knees might give you some relief there, or it just might be a more comfortable option for you to sit in. So maybe try that, or completely ground the hips down. Now, once you come into this comfortable seat, make sure that you're not rounding the spine. So think about if your shoulders are coming forward and you're collapsing a little bit, think about sending the shoulders back so that they're above the hips, and then position the ears above the shoulders. Now, gently let your hands rest. If you've noticed that you've had a lot of energy and you need a little more grounding, you can position the palms facing down. If it's the opposite for you and you've been feeling a little sluggish and you'd like to harness some energy, then I recommend positioning the palms up as an intention of receiving energy. Now, whichever you choose, just let your eyes close. Bring your gaze inward. And notice your next inhalation breath. When you're ready to exhale, practice releasing the air slowly. Now, next inhale, breathe in as much as you can all the way to the top of the breath. Exhale, open your mouth, sigh of relief. Inhale, taking in fresh, clean, new energy. Exhale, release any stale, stagnant energy. Continue to breathe in this way. Deep inhalations, followed by long, slow exhalations. Giving yourself an opportunity to pause, to feel into your body, to let your body know that it's time to start our practice. Knowing that throughout this practice, we're going to focus on toning the body. And if intention setting is part of your practice, you're welcome to bring in any intention, any theme for yourself that you'd like for this practice. So continuing to keep the gaze inward with the eyes closed, just checking in with yourself and seeing what comes up for you, what resonates for you, where your energy is being directed. Then come back to the breath. Continue to lengthen that breath, feeling this pranayama, life force energy moving throughout your body, especially the torso. Allowing yourself to energize with this breath and at the same time calming the nervous system. Let's take one more full round of breath. Inhale all the way to the top. Exhale, open the mouth, let it go. Now start to flutter the eyes open. Come back into the space. If you're sitting on a block or a prop, go ahead and remove it. Set it out to the side. You might want to come back to it later. Now from here, we are going to change the station of our body from seated to downward facing dog. So go ahead and face whichever direction you'd like, picking which way is going to be the top of your mat. And from here, I recommend reaching the hands forward And then use your energy, lift your hips. Now coming on to a tabletop position. Let's pause here. Spread the fingers wide. Position the wrist under the shoulders. Position the knees under the hips. Before we come into our down dog, let's get some movement for the spine. So as we inhale, we'll let the belly lower. Keep the arms straight. Exhale, lift the back, round the spine. Continue to move with the breath. Moving through extension and flexion of the spine. And we'll take one more full round. And come back to a neutral tabletop position. Now from here, look at your hands, walk your hands one hand placement forward. This is going to give you a little more space as you set up for your downward facing dog. Now curl the toes, lift your hips way up high, and then press the heels back. Think about sending your chest towards your thighs. You can practice pressing the heels down to the mat. Or if the hamstrings are tight, you can bend your knees. That might be a little more comfortable. Now in our first downward facing dog, you can get a deeper stretch in the legs by bending one knee as the opposite leg straightens. Switch it over to the other side if you're taking this option. Feel the stretch going up the straight leg into the hip. Continuing this option. Or keeping the legs straight if you prefer, or knees bent. Another option we can take is to gently rock the hips from side to side. Maybe feeling into the ankles. Back to center. Now as you inhale, shift forward, come into your plank position. Now as you come into your plank position, practice pulling your belly button up towards your spine, but keeping your body in a straight line. Allowing yourself to build some strength here, toning the arms. From here, we're going to practice a chaturanga because we will be practicing a couple of vinyasas in our class today. So for our chaturanga, we're going to bend the elbows, lower down until the elbows are aligned with the shoulders. Now we're going to come on to the tops of the feet, extend the arms, upward facing dog. Gaze is forward. Now, if this is uncomfortable, you can bend your elbows, lower your hips, your thighs, tops of your feet to the mat, gaze forward, come into a cobra instead. So this is your choice of what's most comfortable in your body. Now, from our cobra or upward facing dog, we'll transition back to downward facing dog. Now, feeling into this second down dog. Remember, send your chest towards your thighs, taking the pressure out of the shoulders. Exhale, let go. Now inhale, lift and lengthen that right leg. Exhale, bend the knee, step it through. Come onto your fingertips. Now engaging that right hip, let's lift the arms up, gazing forward. Now we're on the back toes. We're going to change the foot to 45 degrees. If this is more comfortable, you can stay like this. If it's available in your practice, rotate that back foot, your left foot, to 45 degrees. Now, if your hips are positioned to the left, practice bringing the hips to gaze forward. If this feels a little uncomfortable, you can open that right foot out to the right side of the mat and see if that helps. Now from our warrior one, we're going to move into warrior two. So if you shimmy that right foot out, bring it back to where you started. And now the back foot is going to move from 45 degrees to 90. So as you look back, make sure that the pinky edge of the foot is aligned with the back of the mat. Right knee is bent. Now fly the arms. Gaze to your right middle finger. Transitioning from warrior two to our peaceful warrior. Lower that left hand to the left thigh. Reach the right fingers up and then overhead. Keep a bend in that right knee. Now you've got option to take the left arm behind the back. Feel the strength in the legs, toning the legs. And then bring the arms back to warrior two. Press into the right foot, straighten the right leg. Reach the fingers forward. And then rotate your arms for your triangle pose. So now the right fingers are facing down. Left fingers are reaching up. Feel a nice stretch at the inner thigh on the right side. And then come back to warrior two. From here, bring the left arm forward. Reach the fingers up, pop onto the left toes. Now on your next exhale, lower your hands down to the mat. Step your right toes back to plank position. Now moving through a vinyasa, we can lower down as we did before, chaturanga, or if we need a more gentle version, we can lower knees, chest, chin, and then we come into our cobra or our upward facing dog. Exhale is going to bring us to downward facing dog. Give yourself a few rounds of breath here. Feel into the body. Come back to your alternate knee bends. Back to rocking the hips from side to side. Find center. Now taking that on the opposite side, inhale, lift and lengthen that left leg. Exhale, bend the knee, step it through. Coming onto the fingertips. First, think about engaging that left hip. Then as you inhale, lift the arms up. Gaze is forward. This is our crescent lunge. Now, rotating that right foot to 45 degrees. Pressing to the outside of the foot. Now, checking those hips. Remember, if your hips are facing off to the right rather than forward, you can shimmy that left foot wider, opening it out to the edge of the mat, the long edge. You want to keep a bend in the knee. Now, hips are pointed forward, reaching the fingers up. Warrior one. Feel the strength in the legs. Preparing to transition to warrior two. If you shimmy that left foot out, bring it back in. Open the arms and then take that back foot, the right foot, to 90 degrees. Keep the left knee bent. Reach the fingers in opposite directions. Gaze to that left middle finger. Now lower that right hand down to the thigh. Inhale, reach the left fingers up and overhead. Now remember, you can bring your right arm behind your back if you prefer. Make sure you're keeping a bend in that left knee. Gently come out back to warrior two. Press into that left foot, straighten the left leg, reach the fingers forward, and then rotate the arms for your triangle. Now the left fingers are pointed down. Right fingers are reaching up. Simply notice where you feel the stretch here. And then we're going to come up, back to our warrior two. Now from here, right arm comes forward to meet the left. Pop onto the right toes. Reach the fingers up, crescent lunge. Exhale, take the hands down. Now from here, step that left foot back. Find your way to plank position. We have an opportunity to take another vinyasa, or you can simply move directly to downward facing dog. So maybe you take knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, and then coming into up dog or cobra. Exhale is down dog. Pause and breathe here. If you need a break, you might opt for child's pose at this point. Taking either child's pose or staying in down dog. Simply give yourself time to bring your awareness back to your breath. Notice each inhalation and each exhalation. Simply breathe and take a moment to reflect on your practice so far. A couple more rounds of breath. Now, depending on how you're feeling at this point of your practice, if you need a break, if you need rest, you can stay in child's pose. If you'd like one more opportunity to tone from a standing position and incorporate a standing balance with a hip opener, then you can transition back to downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, inhale, lift and lengthen that right foot. Exhale, bend the knees, step it through. Inhale, arms rise up. Now, exhale, pause here. Use your energy to shift weight to the right foot. Lift the left foot and then bring the ankle to the right thigh. So we lift the arms forward. Now we're coming into our standing figure four. Nice stretch for the hip. Practice coming out, press your standing foot to the mat. Take your hands back to your hips. Send those left toes back. Reach the arms up. Exhale, take the hands down. Now from here, step the right foot back, plank position, option to move through a vinyasa or come directly into down dog. Check in, see what your body needs. Once you get to down dog, take a few rounds of breath. Practice inhaling through the nostrils. Exhale, open the mouth, let it go. And again. Next, inhale, lift and lengthen that left leg. Exhale, bend the knees, step it through. Inhale, reach the arms up. It's crescent lunge. Exhale here. Now, take the hands down to the hips. Lift that right foot. Take the ankle to the left thigh. Carefully sit back. Now, if this one is wobbly for you, you can always take your hands to a wall space or practice in the free space. Press standing foot. Lift the right foot, take it back, stabilize yourself. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, take the hands down. Step the left foot back. It's plank position. From here, moving through your flow or taking it directly to down dog. Remember, child's pose is always an option. Take one more round of breath wherever you are. Now shift the shoulders forward above the wrist, plank position. Take the right knee behind the right wrist. Lower the left leg down. Extend that left leg, look past your left shoulder. Make sure the left leg is straight behind you, including the foot. And then start to walk your hands forward. So if you already feel a deep stretch at your right hip, you can stay here. If you want to lower down, you can walk the hands forward. I like to open the elbows wide, stack my hands, make a pillow for my forehead, and then settle in. Practice keeping the hips squared. Making sure the hips aren't sagging to the right. Just breathe and feel. Let yourself enjoy a few more rounds of breath. Let the heart melt down to the mat. On your next inhale, start to lift your head. Press your palms to the mat, straighten the arms. Now we are going to go for a quad stretch. If you want to opt out, you can stay with straight arms. If you want to take the stretch, lift the left foot, reach the left hand back, connect hand to foot, and then turn your gaze forward. Now, if you want to intensify the stretch, you can pull the foot closer to the glute. Practice squaring the shoulders. Now, if you grab the foot, release it. Gently re-extend the foot, bring the left hand down to the mat. From here, curl the left toes. Use your energy to step the right foot back to down dog. Now, straighten that right leg. Take a deep bend in the left knee. Hold for another round of breath. Then press that left heel down. As you inhale, shift forward, plank position. Now take that left knee behind the left wrist, setting up for our pigeon on this side. Lower that right knee down, uncurl the right toes. Look past the right shoulder, make sure the right leg is straight behind you, including the foot. Option to keep the arms straight, or you can walk the hands forward, open the elbows wide, stack the hands. Bring your forehead down to your hands, using your hands as a pillow. Now, just settle in. Notice if you're holding tension. Practice melting down to the mat. Now feeling a nice deep stretch at the left hip. Practicing letting tension go. Practice lengthening the breath. And practice melting the heart down towards the mat. On your next inhale, lift your head. And gently press palms to the mat, re-straightening the arms. Now remember, we've got the option to stay here, gaze forward. Or if we want that quad stretch, we can lift the right foot, reach the right hand back. Hand connects to the foot. Square the shoulders, continue to gaze forward. Now this might be a deep enough stretch for you, or you might pull your foot closer to your glute to intensify. So I'm actually tighter on this side, so I'm going to take less of a pull. Continue to look forward. Continue to notice your breath. On your next exhale, release your foot, gently re-extend. Bring the right hand down. Coming out of our pigeon pose, curl the right toes. Use your energy to lift the hips, step that left foot back. Straighten the left leg, take a deep bend in the right knee. Think about sending the chest towards the thighs. Take another full round of breath here. Feel sensation in the left leg and left hip. And then press that left heel to the mat, straighten both legs. From here, we're going to come onto our belly. So gently lower the knees down to the mat. From here, bend the elbows, lower chest and chin, slide the feet back, bringing the legs and the front of the hips onto the mat. Now from here, reach your arms forward, lift your legs, gaze forward. Take another couple rounds of breath, getting extension for the spine. And then exhale, take the hands under the shoulders, lower the legs, lift the hips, bring the knees together, feet together. Come into child's pose. Lower your forehead down to the mat. Bring your arms by your sides. This is going to allow you to release the shoulders. And at the same time, we're getting flexion in the spine. Counterbalancing from that gentle back bend from our Superman pose. And here we let the spine decompress. Back to a reflective pause. Noticing how the body feels now. Noticing where you've released tension and where you've activated. On your next inhale, lift your head. Continue to lift crown of the head up towards the sky. Now coming into a straight spine, axial extension. We'll lift the hips enough to bring the feet out to one side and then bring your feet forward. I'll suggest to go ahead and bring your glutes to the middle of the mat because we are going to come into a reclined position pretty soon. But for now, we want to have the knees bent with the knees straight up. And then looking down at the feet, we want the heels in line with the glutes. So we're coming into our boat pose, toning the abs now. So to come into our boat pose, let's start off by reaching our fingers forward, thumbs are up, as if we're saying, okay, yeah, I love yoga. Now, start off by bringing your big toes to the mat. You might feel a little lean back in the back space. And then start to lift your toes. Now, if you do this and this is really uncomfortable and it really sets off your balance, you can always tap those toes back down. So maybe you stay with toes down, or maybe the ankles are in line with the knees. Now, if you feel your chest collapsing, open your heart, send it forward. If you feel shaking in your body, that's good. You're gaining strength. If you want to go deeper, you can even straighten your legs, or you can keep the knees bent. So let's take one more round of breath. And then lower the toes down. Pause, take a full round of breath. And now looking at your feet, bring your right foot behind your left leg. Lower your right leg down. And then if your knee is out to the right, bring it to the midline. So centered with your chest. Make sure you're not sitting on your right foot. Take your left foot to the outside of your right thigh. So try to position the sole of the foot down. Now from here, take your left hand behind your left hip. Inhale, reach your right fingers up. And as you exhale, bring your right elbow to your left thigh. Now you can stay here. You might be able to lower your right hand to your right heel. You might be able to twist a little deeper, looking past your left shoulder. Nice spinal twist from a seated position. Nice stretch for the shoulder. We've got one more round of breath. You've got this. And then gently unwind. Now, before you move your legs, take both of your hands over to the right. Bend the elbows and gently lower down, just about halfway, counter stretch. And then lift, bring the torso back to center. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, so we're going to switch up the legs. So remove that left leg so that you can bring that right foot back in line with the left. Now, as you slide your left foot behind your right, lower that left leg down. If the knee is out to the side, remember, bring the knee in towards the chest. Make sure that you're not sitting on your foot, bring it out to the side. Then you're going to lift that right foot, take the right foot outside of the left thigh. Right hand comes behind the right hip. Inhale, reach the left fingers up. Exhale, bring the elbow to the thigh. And then you might lower your left hand to your left heel. You might twist a little deeper, looking past your right shoulder. Pause and breathe here. Now feeling a stretch at the left shoulder. One more round of breath. Release. Gaze forward. Take both your hands over to the left. Bend the elbows, little counter stretch here. And then lift up. Bring the body back to gazing forward. And just unwind the legs here. Now, as you unwind the legs, go ahead and come onto your back. So we want to connect the tailbone, the back, the shoulders, the head. Just allowing yourself to come into a reclined position. Pause here. Let your body feel into this grounding. Maybe take your hands to your belly, palms to the belly. As you inhale, feel the belly pressing to the palms. And as you exhale, feel the belly soften. Couple more rounds of breath. Taking time to reconnect with the breath. Now lift your hands, take them off your belly. Reach your fingers towards your heels, then slide your heels towards your glutes. See if your fingertips can graze your heels. Remember, we want the feet hip distance. Now we're coming into bridge pose. So as you inhale, press your feet to the mat, lift your hips. So we want to make a diagonal from the shoulders to the knees. Now see if you can bring your hands to meet, interlacing your fingers. Roll the shoulders underneath. Keep lifting the hips up. Opening the front of the hips, pressing them up towards the ceiling. Feel the engagement in the body. Now you can hold this, or another option is if you need support, you can take a block underneath your sacrum so that instead of holding yourself up, you can rest on the block and just let your arms ground down. So either one of these is a great option. If you're looking for a deeper stretch for the front of the hips, particularly if you spend a lot of time sitting in a chair, then you might want the block option because this is going to allow you to extend your legs and get a deeper stretch for the front of the hips. Now, be careful with this option because if you feel pinching in the low back, you're going to want to readjust your block until that sensation goes away. So with the prop or not, we'll take a couple more rounds of breath in our bridge pose. If full wheel is in your practice, you can come into that now. You might even practice lifting your heels, coming onto the toes, and then pressing the heels back down, maybe taking a couple more, just exploring the movement in the body. And then we'll slowly make our way out of our bridge pose, reconnect the spine back down to the mat. If you're feeling discomfort in the low back for whatever reason, you might take the feet out wide and then let the knees drop in towards each other. If you want to focus your time of relaxation on hip opening, then you may bring the soles of the feet together with the knees splayed out. If you feel any tension at the hips, you can take your fist under your thighs or blocks. So at this point, we are setting up for our time of relaxation, our Shavasana. For our practice that we had today, I recommend 8 to 10 minutes of relaxation. You can always take longer if you'd like, or shorter if you need to. This is up to you. Maybe extending the legs, coming into our traditional shape of relaxation. Opening the arms out, creating space at the armpits and creating space between the legs. Tuck your chin towards your chest, lengthening the back of the neck. Maybe just rock the feet out a few times, just letting the legs know it's time to relax. Let the whole body find stillness. Keep the gaze inward with the eyes closed. Know that this time of relaxation is really important to integrate the movement from our class, from our practice. This is a really awesome time to be present with yourself. Allow yourself to be here as long as you'd like. And we'll close our practice here together today. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you. And feel gratitude for taking this time to serve yourself through your practice. Namaste.